The following podcast is an RMG Media production.
It's time we go beyond the handshake. It's time we deepen business relationships and take it to the next level of cultivating and building relationships past that business card exchange and beyond the initial handshake. Welcome to Beyond the Handshake, where we will take a deep dive into getting to know businesses and business owners, why they do what they do in business, what drives them to success, why they work so hard, what they struggle with, what they succeed in, and tips they have for other businesses to learn from their experiences. I am Lucy Miller, founder and CEO of Women Connect. Let's go beyond the handshake. Today's episode is with Sydney Dozier, the visionary behind Renaissance Marketing Group, which is a leading Nashville-based social media agency founded in 2014. Coming up on 10 years, Sydney has curated a top-tier team, establishing Renaissance as a go-to agency delivering proven social media marketing results. Renaissance offers a wide array of services from social media management to content creation, professional photography and videography, branding, and more, serving clients across the nation. Their focus is clear: drive revenue, foster online growth, and exceed client expectations. Sydney is also the host of the Renaissance Summit events that have not only occurred just in the Nashville market, but several outlying areas. Today's episode is all about how Sydney and I both have created conferences that have a huge impact on the women that attend. We talk about the ups, the downs, the hard, and the best parts about providing an experience for women to attend a conference just like ours. Let's get started. All right. Okay. Are y'all ready? This is about to be a super fun, exciting, probably fast-talking interview. I've got Sydney Dozier here with Renaissance Marketing Group, also my awesome friend and someone I'm really inspired by all the time. She's been in business for 10 years, so we're going to talk about that. But we're today going to be talking a lot about hosting events. Like, what in the world are we doing? But we both host conferences, bringing women together in awesome ways. And so we're just going to chat all about that. And it's going to be awesome. So glad you're here.
Oh my God. Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I adore you. I love your show. I think it's so fabulous. I'm obsessed with the brand, the name, everything, and everything you stand for. You inspire me. Because the story is, I came to your first live event and Gigi Butler was one of your speakers. Was she keynote?
Keynote. And I can't even believe I put that conference on. It's like wild when I think about that. I just did that.
And it was phenomenal.
And Gigi was amazing.
It was, your speaker lineup that year was so good. I sat next to Brittany Campbell, had never met Brittany before, and then met her and I was obsessed with her. And everyone in that room that day was so awesome. You are so good about getting really like-minded, aligned women in one room, and you do it in volume. And that's what we need to talk about, because that's the hardest thing, is getting the butts in the seats.
Yep.
And you just knocked it out of the park. And then I remember that was 2021.
October.
So literally a month later, I had the I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And so it was like totally at the same time at your event had just wrapped. And I had the idea, and then we did our first event, February 2022.
Crazy.
But women inspire women.
They really do. I know it's amazing because I remember meeting you and you were working with Gigi and I didn't really know what I was doing on the planning side, but somehow I feel like I pulled off what I feel like was a perfect day. I couldn't even believe it. I was on a high for months and months and months and months because of just how impactful it was. And I know we'll talk about that. But my vision was to bring women together. And what we do at Women Connect month in and month out is lots of connection opportunities and networking and building each other up and learning from each other and referring. But to have a day set aside where you cancel your calendar, you're there all day or part day or whatever the time frame is, to just learn and do that for yourself. And it was awesome.
Well, and the timing. I feel like everyone always says in business, timing is everything. And you did that event right at the end, quote unquote, of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So everyone was really hungry.
Yes, they were. Some complications with that is that I was so scared I was going to wake up sick that day or be sick that week. And then how would it happen? Or, would we have to cancel? Would there be another big breakout? You know, all of that, like looking back on it is not something I've worried about in later years, but
yeah,
wild.
But you did it because you're such a risk taker.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's, you know, that's part of it. You just have to say yes and you trust yourself that you're going to figure it out. And you do that.
Yeah.
We do that. It's shared crazy.
Yes, it is. I know. It's like, so your business is not, it is kind of now, but the core, the foundation of what you do at Renaissance Marketing is not planning summit. So talk about that.
Yeah.
Marketing.
It's crazy. It's like, we're not an event planning company. We have had clients since doing our summits hire us for like events and things like that. But mostly just because I'm such like you, I believe in the power of in-person and IRL, like in real life situations. But we're a social media marketing agency. So we don't even need to have an office if we don't, you know, if I didn't believe so much in the power of being together and like collaboration in person, because we're all digital. Like we have clients across the country, you know, we manage companies' social media marketing. But I think we do it the best when we are in front of our clients, like when we have the ability to capture them on camera, you know, produce podcasts for them, you know, just get to know them and kind of like the foundational core of their business, because it is the most intimate thing, taking over someone's social media. Like, I mean, you and I have
turning over the reins.
Yeah. It's for business owners, it's so scary to like let it go. And, you know, I pride myself in, you know, standing after 10 years because I feel like the way I approach it is like, I am a business owner. I know how scary it is to turn over your brand. I know, you know, what kind of trust the client needs to have in me and in my staff to do it really effectively. So yeah, we do that. We do the full service social media management, content creation, photo, video, and branding, website development. So really kind of like a full suite of services for businesses. And then we recently launched podcast production too.
Yes. We're in their amazing studio. So I love it. I love being able to transform the space from Sydney's bright pink wall. We love it. Love it. We love the pink, but I love navy too. So we were able to transform this and make it mine, which is so cool. And
so
from
fun.
the production standpoint and all the things y'all do to make it easy, like it's such a great addition.
Well, I was like, I have the team here. I have the space. We do a podcast because I love doing my podcast.
And it is the name of it.
The Renaissance Podcast. So it's for empowering women entrepreneurs on their entrepreneurial journey. And I love like with, you know, we have this in common, but just having incredibly talented, brilliant, you know, entrepreneurial women come on the show and tell their stories. And really like about our show, it's like, it's the hard. What has been the hardest thing on your entrepreneurship journey, and talk about that, because even if it's something you're maybe ashamed of that you're going through, that's like really scary, that's something you like don't even like want to say, someone else that's listening is going to have that shared experience and be happy that you were that vulnerable. So I really
impacted by it.
Want to elevate that vulnerability, which you do so well too.
Yeah.
So
adding the podcast studio is great.
Yeah.
So for someone wanting to start a podcast, you guys make it really turnkey. So there's still a lot of work on the host, the prep, the scheduling, the, you know, what you want to make it yours. But for somebody to be able to like step into something brand new for them, I think this is
I mean, it's
been a huge to have y'all on the team.
I think for sure. I think if you're a B2B business, you know, if you're a service-based business, if you have a product, like there's so much power in your thought leadership. There's so much power in you as the business owner. And though we don't come into this entrepreneurial world to be radio hosts, you know, like not even, I feel like that's a dying thing because of podcasts, but we do have this presence and we are leaders. If you slap entrepreneur or business owner or CEO on your LinkedIn page, you're a thought leader. Like people want to know what you have to say. People want to be inspired by you. They want to learn from you. You have that influence. So I think by having a podcast, it's kind of a natural way for you to showcase that influence. Like when we work with brands, I'm always like, okay, gone are the days in social media where you can just have a product and share the product. Like consumers are like, no. I want to know who's doing this. I want to know the story behind this. So we know that people like to consume story through video and through audio. So what a perfect marriage when you have a podcast to give yourself that light. And even if I just came from a breakfast with someone, Caroline.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't really listen to podcasts. And I'm like, well, but you consume content on social media. Yeah. You consume video content. Everyone consumes video. So with our show, I was like, I only want to do in person. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do Zooms.
Yep.
I'm like, I love it if you're in LA and you want to be on my show, but you're going to have to fly here.
Right.
Or we'll come to you depending on the situation. But that's super important to me because I want this.
I agree. Yeah, same.
So I think that's important.
I was on a podcast the other day and it was interesting. This is something we already know, but it was said and it makes so much sense. But, a lot of the big giant podcasts out there are with lots of famous people, really like notable names, people that have done big things. And those are great. But also great to hear from the ordinary business person that's not ordinary. They're extraordinary.
Yeah.
But they have something special too, even though they're not necessarily famous.
Yeah.
And so I love that, digging into the hard, the good, the struggles, the roller coaster ride, with people just like us.
Yeah.
So that's been fun.
I think a lot of people get stuck on, I don't have a following. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a big following. I don't, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, I am such a consumer of podcasts that I will listen to someone on a podcast because I like the show, whatever. And they've interviewed someone who maybe has 10 followers, maybe has a couple hundred followers, but they had such a compelling message that I would have never had the opportunity to hear had it had not been on that podcast. I mean, that's when you go back to the dawn of television. That's the only way Oprah got Oprah's start was she started out with no following, but then had that opportunity and then grew it. True. And so you just kind of have to look at it from that standpoint because we do have clients that will say that to us like, well, yeah, I kind of like a podcast, but we're just starting out with my brand and we're just starting out and I don't have a huge following. And it's like, well, the only way we're going to get a following is if we're really consistent with your message and you are willing to get behind camera because you've got a great story.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big advocate that you can build community not just in the social media world, not just in Instagram, but there are some people that solely just consume podcasts too.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten way off topic from conferences, but I wanted to bring us back because you did one of your podcast episodes at my conference. Do you remember on stage?
Oh my God, what a dream.
So we should do that again. I need to think about that for another year.
Needs to be,
hello.
Figure
out how to work that in there.
That was so fun. I was so honored to get to do that. I mean, that panel of women was just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Some of Raven, I feel like I still talk to her all the time, like dear friend that I met through you. And that was so cool because it was like an opportunity for me to have all those women on my podcast at one time.
In front of a live audience.
In front of a live audience and in front of the live audience, tell them what the Renaissance podcast was.
Yeah.
And that's
cool.
That's kudos to you for being so embracing of like, oh, Sydney does something similar to me. She hosts conferences for women entrepreneurs, but I'm going to tell everyone about it.
Right. Because
that's what's so cool.
This is not competition. Huge thing there, like huge topic, because I know you and I both are on the same page about this. We talk about this a lot at Women Connect. It's a part of my branding is the abundance mindset. And from the beginning, like our businesses aren't the same, but now we do something similar. And we have a lot of overlap in women that would and should be a part of both events. And that's a win. It's a win. It is not a mine versus yours. And I really, really believe that.
I love that. And I think that's why, I can say this confidently. Like we have a lot of women that adore both of us. Like, and I'm just saying that because we have such a shared network. I mean, we're awesome.
Yeah.
But like literally that's something I've really admired from you. And just from day one, you've embraced what I've done because I came right after you and was like, I don't know, Lucy, I'm doing this thing. And
I'm like, I know it's really hard, but I'm coming.
And you were like, I'll be there. And I just, that first conference we did, and you were there and you've been at all of our conferences. And I wasn't able to make it to your last one, which I'm always going to regret to the day that I die, but I decided to move at the worst time in my entire
You moved
life.
in a monsoon hurricane. I felt really sorry for you.
Well, I felt sorry for you because your conference was in that monsoon hurricane, but that's also part of live events. We can't prevent life from lifing.
Yes.
The weather.
Okay, so let's go back to your first one. And so your company name is Renaissance Marketing. How did you come up with your first theme for that event? Keeping it on brand, I guess, was important also. Talk to me about the Renaissance
Summit
theme. Yeah.
Creating
in general. Yeah.
So, well, I really, we just wrapped our Austin event, which was wild, doing a conference in Texas because we just didn't have a community in Texas. And we were like, let's go to Austin and host an event. And
that's just wild to me, but I'm really impressed.
I sometimes just do crazy things and I don't know why, but my team really gets behind it. And then we just are all like, okay, I guess we're going to Austin. That's a whole other thing. But kind of the story, I shared this on stage because I was like, oh, this is kind of a neat story. But the reason I started the summits was I got to a point in 2021 where I had a full staff, had an office, kind of call it my pink couch dream, where I always envisioned when I started the company in 2014, having a pink couch in my office, quite literally, and a team of women working with me to build kind of this social media machine that we're doing. And I saw that pink couch. It's still in my office today. If you come in, you see it. And I saw the team of women. Walker was still on the team too. So hey, Walker, he was there. And I was at that point where I went from being kind of entrepreneur, business operator to being a CEO, where I wasn't any longer in the quote unquote weeds of doing the social media for my clients. I was actually out of that and being more the visionary and casting the vision for the business. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do? I'm either going to go crazy hardcore business development because as CEOs, that's what we do. Or I'm going to think, how can I make this business bigger than just being a social media agency and actually make it a lasting, impactful movement. And that was the route I wanted to take. And I was like, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to do that through a conference. I'm going to do that through a live event. I'd just been to your event, knocked my socks off. I thought, well, I don't know how to do an event, but I know how to market. I know how to market an event and I know how to get, a message out there to a specific group. And so we called it the Renaissance Women's Summit. And kind of the whole premise behind Renaissance is kind of when I started the business, I wanted to create a renaissance within someone's company. I wanted to use my talents in social media marketing to create a renaissance within their business, within their brand. And so with kind of wanting to make a bigger impact, I thought, let's take that a step further. Let's create a renaissance within someone's life, within a woman's life, because I believe that our businesses have the opportunity to give us our dream lives, not just while we're in them, but just the longevity of it, having autonomy over our day, having autonomy over what we're doing, being able to be a mother, being able to, whatever it is. I believe that's why we work so hard, so that we can go and live this dream life. So when you come to our conferences, that's the goal, is that yes, we're going to talk about branding, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about finance, we're going to talk about team building, leadership, all of those things. But essentially the whole end of it is, what do you actually want out of working so damn hard to build this business? What do you want from this? Because whatever that why is, whatever that want is, that's your Renaissance life. So that's kind of the theme throughout the whole thing and really my purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a lot. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I think if you had sat me down right after your event and said to me, Sydney, you have to have sponsors. You have to have attendees. We have to figure out how to get the butts in the seats.
Lots of attendees.
You have to have, the stage. You have to have the AV. Don't even get me started on how much AV costs.
Yeah.
The venue. If you had
you have to feed the people.
I probably would have not. I'm glad that I didn't pick your brain on every tiny little thing. I just watched and was like, I'm just going to figure this out. And then,
that's he can be inspired. If she can do it, I can do it. Not because I'm better, but because I'm willing to work hard. And I can figure it out. And it'll look different. It'll be in my own way. And we're a lot alike, but we're a lot different. And our conferences are different, but also a lot alike. I don't know. It's the cool thing. And it's when I think back though to, our first live, I couldn't even figure out what to call it. I mean, I don't do big things. I host birthday parties by ordering for my kids, by just ordering pizza and we're having a sleepover. We're not doing grand Pinterest parties. I'm not over decorator. I'm a simple party person.
Yes.
I love to have people over and I love to be a connector and I love being around people. But all that stuff,
the grandiose is not like,
it's not normally, except for now, one day a year. That is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But, thinking about that first event or leading up to it, a friend of mine, I want to call her by name because she really pushed me to do this, but Sheila Muskin, had heard me talk about that I felt like in the future, it would be cool if this grew and I could, bring women together for a full day of learning. And I can remember sitting at a table with her after an event in February of 2021. And she said, I want to talk to you about something. And I was like, okay. She was like, you told me that you wanted to do this at some point, and I think you can do it now. And I was like, what? She was like, you can. You've got the people, you've got the momentum. Absolutely, you can do this. And so I literally was like, okay, I'm doing it. And I got in the car and I can remember texting my husband, like, you're not going to believe what I'm about to do. And I mean, he's all in on it all, but just started planning. And so Sheila was actually one of our speakers. She's a speaking coach and just an incredible woman. And she spoke about social media growth and sharing your story and your message. And it was awesome. So that, it's funny what can propel you to do something different in your business or for your life can honestly sometimes just be someone else believing in you. And then you see it.
That's exactly how I started Renaissance. I would, similarly to you, I probably wouldn't. Well, you probably would have eventually had that idea. I wouldn't have had the idea to start my own company if my dad didn't say to me, why wouldn't you just start this?
Yeah.
Just like what Sheila said. He was like, you know how to do, like, you're a leader. You like went down the line. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was like, oh. And then he put, just like you, I went up to my childhood bedroom because that's where I started the business and just it's framed in my office today, but I took out a notebook paper and I wrote out a business plan.
Oh, yeah.
Which was literally like...
Well, that's a head start over some people. They don't even do that.
I don't think I even called it a business plan. I think it was just like, my dream.
My dream. Oh, well, we got to go look at that after this.
It's literally framed in my office because I found it when I was like going through stuff like 5 years ago. And I was like, I actually did all of these things. And it was like, get the logo, get the website, like check out, find clients. I literally wrote find clients.
You need those.
You might need some of that. No, but literally, Lucy, I think I charged $250 a month to do social media when I first started. Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I might do it for free.
Somewhere. Yeah, I might do it for free. Just let me do it for you.
$250 a month.
Well, and so pricing is hard. Pricing is hard to figure out for conferences. And I know I really struggled with that at the very beginning too, because it was a higher price point that I had charged for anything. But it was also a value that we hadn't provided before. And so
in a whole day.
Yeah, in a whole day. And I can remember writing, so we decided to have that first one at the Love List, which is actually the only place I visited.
And you were like, perfect, done.
I'm a fast decision maker, clearly. But I went and visited. I don't want to be in a hotel ballroom. That wasn't the feel of like what I wanted. And I walked in and I can immediately envision, just the tables of women in a beautiful space that's more casual and fun. And so, but writing a deposit check for something when at that point the company didn't have any money. There was no money. It was my money. And I wrote a check for the deposit. And it's a big risk. It was a real big risk.
That's the biggest expense, I feel like, is the venue.
Yes, the venue.
Front.
Yep. So, starting to sell tickets was scary. And I can't even believe we had 150 women. And also who believed in me was Gigi. I had this meeting with her and I got the guts to ask her if she would consider being our speaker. And she said yes halfway through my sentence. And then immediately was like wanting to help me if I needed help negotiating on any of the food pricing, because that was her realm. So and awesome. Actually had done a pretty good job. So it all she was impressed by that. And she just was such a great support for that event.
I met you at her pie shop.
Yeah.
In Brentwood. I think that was 2020.
Yeah.
It was
no, I think it was 2021. Yeah.
Maybe it was spring of 2021.
Yes. It was early 2021.
That's right.
It was probably like March or April.
You're so right. Yeah. And so
because there wasn't much going on in 2020.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think when she opened her doors, but yeah, you're right. And so I remember we texted.
Yeah.
If you go back to our text, that was so many years ago, but you have
to go way back.
I was booking we were doing all the things at that point for her. So anyway, but that's just wild. But yeah, it takes women like that that are just so behind, and that's how you are, so behind what you're doing. And that's what I love about your community is everyone that I have met in your community, and I adore all of them. They're all so great. Embracing of women on their unique journeys. Like that is the coolest thing, and something I'm the most inspired by is how do we make this a nice girl conference?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. We don't attract mean girls.
I love that.
I just don't feel like we do.
That's the energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you had this, but like one of the reasons too I started Renaissance Summit is because I had so much mean girl BS in the majority of my life up until like I started the conference. Like literally, I mean, I just
don't know what that's like.
It was just,
I'm not around it. It's fine.
I mean, I've just had close friends backstab. And, you know, when I moved to Nashville to be a singer-songwriter. I don't know if you know that.
I did know that.
And I had a group of girlfriends in Georgia. I did 1 year of college and then dropped out and moved to Nashville. And I thought, oh, these girls are going to be so happy. They're going to be so excited. I'm going to move to Nashville. I made the decision. I called them all up, you know, and I was like, I'm going to move to Nashville. I'm not going to finish out the remainder at West Georgia University. And they all turned against me. They all were like, how dare you leave us?
Oh, gosh.
It was the most, I mean, I just remember being so heartbroken because those were like my girlfriends. It was 3 girls. It was really 4 girls. And we, you know, they're like, you screwed us over. We were all going to get a house together. Then we were going to do the sorority thing. And, you know, no knock on anyone doing that system, but it was just the way that they attacked me going after my dream of doing music. And I'm like, guys, like, this is, you know me. You know that like when we were all partying, I was like, I got a gig. Like this, you know? And anyway, so I think I then just kind of rid off women friendships for a really long time because I was so deeply hurt. And then kind of started seeing the light, meeting women in this community, a lot of women in your community that were so wonderful. And I felt so accepted. And then I now refuse to hire that energy in my office. Yeah. Refuse to have that energy on my stage. You know, it's just, unfortunately, it is a thing. Yeah. You know, we can't be, you know, naive to that. It is still a thing. And there are women, but that is why we're making a big difference.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we're cultivating the kindness, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've talked to a few people about this lately. I do feel like, you know, at least, you know, within the Women Connect community, I feel like we mostly are attracting women that have that light in them, that they are of an abundant mind. They are excited to do business with each other. They're excited to be excited for someone else when they succeed. And, you know, I don't really know how that's happening other than that's just what we're attracting. Yeah. And the more you attract of that, the more you attract of it. Yeah. And so I do feel that. It feels like in our, you know, at our conference, at our everyday events, it's like this also. I mean, there's like 3 events today and it's like happening right now. Someone's giving somebody a hug or, you know, being excited that they've got something exciting going on in their business. And so that's really awesome. But like at the conference, it's like the full barn of like 200 plus women all being that way for each other. And
then the coolest thing is the picture that you do at the end, because it's everyone gets so excited about that moment. Yes. Like if you're an OG, you're like, the picture.
Yes, but it's also very hard to coordinate. Yeah, everybody get to one place. We've got to take your picture.
It's like herding.
Herding of the cats. Yes. That's me. We're not calling the ladies. It's a herding of the ladies.
Herding the gals and getting them all in one place. Because everyone at the end of the conference, we're just talking about this in our office yesterday. Ashley and Christina, they're going to do an episode about it on our podcast. But like I know this happens at your conference, the after the conference energy with the women who stay in the Loveless or stay at our venues. And we say it's like drunk girl bathroom high, where you're just like, I love you. I love you so much.
So good.
This is so great. I'm on this high because I was so empowered. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to go kick butt in my business. Like I have new women. I have a new community. I have a new circle.
New skills.
And new skills. Like they're on this, you kind of come on this women's conference high.
Yeah.
And it's thing that's not tangible. It's like you can't
new phrase,
sell
women's
it.
conference high.
I know. Ashley calls it drunk girl bathroom.
Oh gosh. Well, a more professional way of saying that would be
that's more the Renaissance podcast. Yeah. But for Beyond the Handshake, it's definitely like it really is this feeling that is just I think that's probably why we keep doing it. When people are like, wait, how do you keep doing this? You're running this business. You have 2 kids that do all the sports and all the things.
I always do mine right in their busy season. It's awesome.
I know you do, where it's like,
but there's always a busy season. I don't know. It's interesting because I know you and I have talked about this a lot, and I won't share every detail about why things are super duper hard sometimes, but it is a really hard thing to plan something of that size that is it. If you're in charge of it, it's important to you to make it special and right and be all the things for all the people. And it's a roller coaster of like excitement and pride and like just so excited for what everyone will experience. But then like every detail, down to like the prep materials, the marketing ahead of time is its own like life that it takes to like push it out on all the platforms and the selling of the tickets. But, I don't ever hire an event planner. I mean,
me neither.
I guess I could, but also I don't know how to turn that over to somebody. So that's kind of a delegation problem for me, but it's always so important to me. And I know it is for you, for there to be like some really special things about the day and for people to really like feel that and it not just feel like just another day or they're just sitting in a seat all day learning. Like it's important for me that there's a lot of good connection time, but that we've been thoughtful about that time and that we've also been thoughtful about what they get when they're there and the subjects that they're learning.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to talk about. Like it's all for the woman that's coming and that's sitting right there. It's all for her.
Yeah,
like it's all really intentional around how she's going to feel, what is going to excite her about this day, what can we weave in there that's going to be kind of that surprise and delight element.
Yeah.
You do that really well. And how, can we make sure that she's actually making the connections? Because I think at the end of the day, you come to a conference because you're coming from like a very opportunistic place of, wow, anything could happen today. Every time I go to a conference, like going to the Brain Trust event recently, I saw you there.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to meet.
Absolutely.
And when you have a business like yours, like where there are very powerful women on the stage and their teams are all, and the sponsors that you have are high caliber, like they're all just there. There's so much opportunity. So then, and every woman that is there for some sort of opportunity they're wanting to gain from that event, whatever it's be just knowledge or like you said, skill building or
connection.
But just that thought and intention, that's something I want to keep getting better at is how can I keep thinking about her and less about me,
right?
And less about how my company looks and how sparkly and the caliber, whatever. Like how can she keep getting more and more out of it? Because that's how you have the return people every year. And I want people to come every year and be like, this was so much better than last year.
Yeah.
Last year was great, but like this is so much better.
But then every year, like, how do I top last year? That's a thing. It's so hard.
But
so
you have a really great way of doing themes. I would love for you to talk about themes because we for the first year, kind of are doing it. We kind of did a theme.
I want to hear about it.
We kind of did a theme this year in Nashville, but it was more Create Your Renaissance.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the name. But like into 2025, we're doing the revival. So I want to like talk to you about themes. How do you pick themes?
Yeah. Well, it's been
Breakthrough was awesome.
Yeah. So our very first year, so we've had 4. Years 1 through 3, I chose the theme all on my own. I got feedback from others, but kind of like after I'd already decided on the name. And it was very, I was very sure that was the word. So our very first year, I knew I had picked Gigi, and knowing what she was going to be talking about with her business, starting her business and what she did to grow it, fearless was a word that I felt like was really applicable to what she was going to be talking about. And honestly, what I was feeling at the time, that I feel like I was truly being fearless to plan this conference and to have started this business and now be really growing to take it to the next level. A lot of risk, a lot of just, a lot. So fearless was how I came up with that word. The next year, as we had grown and added other chapters, we had added, 5 or 8 more just in Tennessee. I felt like a lot of what I was talking about as we were describing who we are as a company and what we offer and why we're different is just the abundance mindset. So feeling like, it's okay that someone comes to this coffee that does what you do. That's amazing. Learn from them, collaborate, but it's not competition. Have that abundant mindset. There is plenty for all of us. And so I was talking about that so much that it was also very clear to me that abundance was the theme for that year. And then going into year 3, as I was working on bringing Sanira Madani in as our keynote and thinking about like just from the other themes, okay, what are we ready to do now? Because I was breaking into new states, just trying to really work on scaling up, breaking through to new things. Breakthrough came as just really bubbled up. And as soon as I've decided on it, I can't think of anything else.
Great word.
And so breakthrough was our theme for the 3rd year. And then this past year, though, we had our first, I took my team on a team retreat. And there's a lot of, business topics we talked about and our avatar for who we attract, our company and our events. But I was really excited to get their feedback and thoughts on what theme for our conference for this year. So we sat around a big table at a restaurant, at a marina, at the lake we were at for our retreat and talked about lots of words. Like there's so many good words out there, but there's some that you just hear a lot all the time. And I didn't want that. I didn't want a word that is like, there's so many other conferences out there with that word. And so then when we started talking about the word flourish and reading the definition of what it means, I had an instant feeling that this was the word. But then slowly around the table, everyone else was it was resonating. And the definition to grow and thrive and be successful in a particularly favorable environment. And so flourish to me, I think that's probably my favorite of our words. It's a beautiful word.
It's a beautiful word. It looks beautiful in the script.
Yes.
The right.
Yeah. But we want our women to flourish. We want them to flourish, within our community and other communities they're a part of. We want their businesses to grow, their lives to be better. And we just want to be a part of that. So,
I love that.
So yeah, the themes have been important.
All the themes also cohesively go together in all the words and kind of like underlying ways to be a successful person.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be fearless.
Yeah.
But let your pursuit kind of bring you that breakthrough and then flourish from it, and grow from it. And like, I just think that's so beautiful. And it always is every time you do a conference and I'm there, like the word stays with me.
Yeah.
Like it's like just a resonating thing.
Yeah. Well, this year was fun. Flourish is just so different than anything. And so, working with, Hey Creative on the stage decor, who's done it every year. And Jamie Rose Plum came on with a lot of like design elements and florals. It was really cool to think about all that we could do in the greenery and floral realm. Just to make it a pretty and different day.
Yeah.
And so we
it's an event for women.
Yeah. We weren't in our brand colors at all that day, which I've never done. I'm usually very brandy with colors. And we were lots of greens, just greens. And it was awesome.
So
it was cool.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I saw pictures, was like watching the stories all day, like, oh my God, like FOMO, like so much FOMO.
Well, so do you have any stories of any like tricky things that have happened or like flub-ups that like maybe no one knows about? Because I've got a few funny ones.
Okay. So Charleston, December 2023, we are doing this event. It's going so well. We did it at this beautiful garden in Charleston.
Yeah.
I think the most serene, stunning venue that was $1,000 for the day, Lucy Miller. Yeah. I don't know how, I think they just liked us. I think they just liked me. And they told me on the call and I was like throwing up. I was like $1,000. So if you don't do events, the venue is always so expensive. So that is just, it felt like the universe and God being like, you're supposed to do this in Charleston.
Yeah.
So anyway, event's going well. I was so nervous. New city, going to a new city.
I can't even imagine planning somewhere where you don't live. How do you do that?
Well, you do it all. You're in all these cities. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. It's like a ripple effect. Once you announce you're doing something, there's so many women that jump on it.
You can kind of,
and then they start connecting us to all the different people. So we did the event. We're almost to lunch. And I get a tap on my shoulder. Someone's like, Sydney, it's like, it's 11:30. I'm like, yep, the day's going great. And they're like, yeah, lunch was supposed to be here by now. And, we were supposed to be setting up for lunch. And, we had a speaker on the stage at this point. So they're whispering this into my ear. And I'm like, okay, figure it out. Go call them, figure it out. And they're like, okay, we'll be right back. So they go and I see my team outside the venue, which was the garden outside. We were inside and I just see them all pacing and they're on the phone. And I'm like, oh God, oh no. So I find out they're like, lunch thinks the event is tomorrow.
Lunch thinks it's tomorrow.
And this is we went through a. Did
you go check your emails to make sure you had written it right?
I signed the contract for the next day.
Oh, you did?
It was totally on me. It was totally on me. We found out really quickly, which was good because then I wasn't nasty to anyone that I might have been nasty to. It was so on me. And I'm so embarrassed that happened. But now we will really read a contract.
Yeah, but it can happen so easily.
Oh, it can happen so easily because, and it was like one of those things where in the emails were like, I think the event was December 6th. So the emails, we were like, yep, December 6th, But the contract said December 7th. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of a double-edged thing where like, my team had communicated, great, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the conference, the summit, it's tomorrow. And their team, I think they were just super slammed. But again, I get it. From an ops standpoint, the caterer is going by what is in the contract. So the kitchen is going by what is,
and then just nobody caught it.
So I totally dropped the ball. So what did we do? That same company, shout out Hamby Catering in Charleston, they pulled out a stop for us. They literally
in like 30 minutes
rummaged in like 30 to 45. I think we did delay lunch. We had a bunch of snacks. I remember my team just passing out like Fritos and chips, or just like feed the women. Because conferences, you get so hungry. If you don't feed your people, like
you gotta feed them.
You have to feed the people. And so we're like passing out bars and like biscuits because we had a biscuit speaker in the morning. And they came through and we had lunch. Not one person complained. And it was literally like, I think we ended up, lunch was supposed to start at 12. I think it started at like 1. But
it's fine.
That was probably we've had other things, I know, but that's the biggest
mm-hmm. Well, I've had a few.
Yeah.
Very first year, and this is not major, it's just kind of funny, but again, this is my very first event. And I had, been originally emailing with the venue about what they were going to be providing as far as like some stage things, like the podium. And then they work directly with a rental company that you can rent some other things through. But separately, I had been on that company's website looking at some pink chairs to rent, but I never like checked out. I never paid. I never like went through the process. I think I just inquired on the pricing. I don't know what happened, but they connected on those chairs. And I walk in that morning and I had done something else for the chairs. I'd actually bought some pink chairs that we were going to use every year, which we did. We used for 3 years. And I walk in that morning at like 7 a.m. to set up. And the pink chairs that I had inquired about are on stage, like expensive chairs.
You're like, oh no,
wait a minute. And so I'm like, did I pay for this? Like, did I sign something on this? I hadn't. Like, I convert. Like, it was just a mistake. So we did not use the chairs on stage. We moved them off. We actually did. We did sit in them. Like they were sitting off to the side, but they weren't part of our stage decor. And it was just like for a moment of like, what have I done? Again, no one would know. It's not a major problem.
Most of the time, no one knows.
No.
The things that are going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I've pinged you, like I've like seen you at both of our conferences where you'll come up to me and be like, how's it going? And I'll be like, this happened. And like, yeah, same. I remember at one of your events, you were like, well, we had this thing, and it's like, if you know.
Yeah. Well, so then another thing that I really learned after year 2 was that I really needed to have, so we typically have a marketplace area where we allow women to purchase a booth space and showcase products and services. They can sell them. They can, gain new clients.
So much money.
Like it's great shopping. It's also great to learn about, all the other businesses, and our sponsors are in there too. And I won't go into tons of details to leave the guilty nameless. However, it is very important in your contract to really know all the things in there. And part of our contract with our venue is that no outside food or beverage is able to be served unless approved by the venue. And it's that is what it is. And I know that. I know that now really well. And so there was a few offenders of that in the marketplace that we had to stop letting them do what they were doing. And I'm being really vague, but I just don't want to be mean about the companies. But there was a few problems with that almost cost me a major fine. And so we were able to correct the situation. And for one of them, actually had to get quickly proof of liability insurance because of something they were doing.
Lord.
So what I did learn from that, and this is a great lesson for anybody thinking about planning something like this, is having, even if it's a simple Google form in almost a contract form. So my attorney helped me create a simple, like where they're checking the box, signing their name that they agree to these 5 or 10 things. And like that is a line item in there that you, unless specifically approved by Women Connect, no outside food or beverage is to be served.
Yep.
And, having that signed ahead of time, when they're agreeing that what they want to do and why they want to do it, that's a great time to get that signed and acknowledged by them. Yeah. So that was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Because it would have been, they read the contracts. Yeah.
Read the contracts.
So,
yeah.
And then this year, our fall conference was Friday, September 27th. And so for history lesson, Hurricane Helene was coming through Tennessee on its way to East Tennessee and North Carolina, and nowhere near the devastation that happened there. But that day was when Nashville got all of the rain that we were getting as it was coming through. So it kind of started overnight, and we knew it was coming, but just not, how much we would get. And so when I got there, earlier than I was able to. I got there about 6:30, 6:45 that morning. We had to really pivot with where we have all those marketplace tables. And so as my husband and I trying to reconfigure where we're going to put things, and we ended up using both sides of the barn for the marketplace, which I actually ended up kind of liking. So we may use that for future years. But but it was a pivot.
Yeah.
It was a pivot because, there was water on one side, lots of water coming in under the tent.
Well, and that's the other thing is there are things
you can't control.
That you cannot control that will always happen. It's like if you've ever gotten married, there are going to be things on your wedding day that don't go according to plan. And a lot of it can be weather. And so it's that's a thing that we always have bad weather. We always say it wouldn't be a summit day without rain. Except for Charleston, we had a beautiful day, and Austin, we had a beautiful day. Our out of state ones, beautiful. Yeah. But Nashville, every year in February, we have torrential rain or snow or ice or just some outside forest that is, parking just makes our event, it's all inside, but it still makes it a nightmare for people. And then our vendors who are loading in. And
the loading in was the hardest part.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the venue once I got there at 6:30. I really never got wet because I was inside the whole day. And
we should talk about supportive husbands.
Oh, yes.
In events and conferences, because your husband is always there. He's always just looks ready to just handle a situation. And my husband's always at mine too, somewhere. I never know where he is. But
this year my husband brought a friend.
We love it.
Yes. And my dad's been there the last 2 years. I love him, but he's not super helpful. But, but he's there.
He's moral support.
He's moral support.
That's adorable.
Do you all have males as sponsors? Because if not, I'm going to tell you, you should do that.
I should do that. We've had one male speaker our first year. We had a men's panel.
Yeah.
We had a men's, our Renaissance men's panel this past year was really, really cool. We had Michael Orr as one of our speakers.
Yeah, that was so cool.
And Jason from the Hills, which was wild because I love him and love Ashley Waller. But I don't think we've had a man sponsor, but we had a big virtual assistant company that was male owned reached out to us that was super interested in sponsoring our Austin event. And then it just like didn't work out, but they were like really interested. And he was like, all of our clientele is women. So this makes a lot of sense.
Well, so this is why I opened my eyes a little. I've never been against males.
No.
It just our realm, our world. We love men and we love their sport. Mm-hmm. It just our world for most of the businesses that are, flock to us are women owned. However, this past year I was introduced to a male, the benefits group. Nadie and Zach introduced me to them and they were really excited to get involved. And so they came on as a sponsor and I was excited to have him on stage for a few minutes, which is, part of his sponsorship package. And I was like, this is a door opening for me because there are so many, companies out there that men are running that they have an audience of women.
I love that.
Their consumers are women. They offer services to women. And so if you are a male and you're listening to this and you have women that are part of your target audience, like you need to get in this room.
Yeah.
You need to
or
figure
if
out a
you're
way.
a woman and your husband has a company or whatever, like this is a great opportunity.
These are great rooms to get in because these women are not only consumers, but they're business owners, they're decision makers, they're open to new ideas.
I always say we're the consumer.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
We're the one that is, saying like, hey, we need to spend this money in this area or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like we are the decision makers of the household. Like I think that's massive. And I think there's like such a huge opportunity to endorse a women's conference in that way.
Definitely.
And you'll stand out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we did put the men we had a few men there. So we had 2 male sponsors, my husband's friend, Jamie Rose's husband was there and my dad. So they were all kind of back together. We let them pal around. They felt a little, they were definitely in the minority, but
you know what? They have a great
They were
time.
Excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to be in a room with a bunch of women when you're a guy? Like it's the best. It's a different energy.
Yeah.
No, my husband wasn't able to come to our event this year because he brought Sawyer for like 30 minutes. But yeah, I know. And my parents weren't in town or I don't know what happened, but he didn't have childcare. So he was like, but I remember he told me like a month after the summit, he was like, I was kind of bummed that I wasn't really like able to be there the whole day. He's like, I like help. Like he's such a helper.
Yeah.
My husband, he's such like your husband, just wants to, oh, can I get a door? Oh, do you need, should I order?
But also being in awe of you, probably just giving him that. Yes.
I don't know about
giving
all
him
that.
that opportunity to see you shine.
Sweet. I don't know. I think probably,
he loves that.
I really feel like he loves to help. He's just a helper guy. And my team loves Nick.
Yeah.
It's basically a family business. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So we both have conferences coming up in 2025. Let's talk about yours first. February
20th, 2025. Oh my God, number 6, which is
crazy.
Wild. And our theme is Unleash Your Revival. Ooh. So listen to the song Revival by Selena Gomez. I'm not even like a big Selena Gomez person. I love her. She's so brilliantly talented, but that song will make all the hair on your arm stand up and you will understand why I'm naming the conference after listening to that song. It's a really powerful message.
Let's have that song as the intro and extra.
I would love that.
Let's add that.
So
change it up for this episode.
She does like a monologue at the beginning. I love a monologue. And she just talks about just letting go of really painful chapters and really painful things. And I think kind of for me, 2024 has been a really hard year. It's been a really challenging year from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I think a lot of people have been feeling that. And I think a lot of people are afraid to say that. And so I want to say it and be like, you know what? 2025, we are not going to have that year. We are going to learn from 2024. We're going to equip our teams, our businesses, our minds. And so our summit's in February, still at the very beginning of 2025, when you're feeling fresh and ready to conquer the year. So
at the Wondery?
It's actually, it is at Vanderbilt, but we are in the biggest venue we've ever been in.
Okay.
And it is at the Vanderbilt Student Life Center. So it's across from the Wondery, same area, but we kind of have outgrown the Wondery.
Yes.
So
that's amazing.
Yes, we're growing. Yeah. So it's February 20th.
February 20th.
Tickets on sale now. Early bird tickets on sale now, which early bird is
get
deal.
it. And that's important. I want to point that out. I'll say this for Sydney.
Please.
We really, really, it helps us plan when you get your tickets early and not the month of, the week of. Like,
come on, girl.
Yeah, like I procrastinate all the time. I'm sure I did on your last few summits, but like it is, it's really hard to plan when you don't know how many people are coming. It's also,
cash flow.
It's a cash flow. I mean, just being really honest, like there are so many things that you have to pay for ahead of time leading up to it. And it's risky. We've already talked about that, hosting these things, but
the deposit for the venue.
Yeah.
Like we've never had to pay for our space before until this year in Nashville. And so this will be the first year we're actually going to pay for the
Yeah. So get your tickets early. That way you can get it on your calendar and just have something to look forward to, but also know that you're helping this awesome businesswoman feel more confident going into it and knowing how many more people you need. Like it's such always a moving target. And so I want to preach that to get
your tickets early. Yeah. It's just like, with November being a big month for supporting small business and shopping small. And it's like, think about the women that are hosting events because we're not doing it. We're really not doing it for the money.
No.
We should have talked about that.
Yeah, we should have talked about that. Yeah.
If you think either of us are sitting in these chairs right now because we're hosting events because of money, we're not. We're doing it for the real why of why we started our companies and the real impact and the heart that's in the rooms that day. And the everlasting impact that these conferences make for a very long time on women. So that is why you should support it. Just like you would support your woman-owned boutique down the street for Black Friday. Like similar vibes.
Love it.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, so February 20th. And then I want you to look way ahead on your calendar to September 19th.
Yay! So. We keep moving up. I love that. We keep going closer.
Well, the later one was booked already.
Oh, okay. So, I thought maybe because of weather.
No,
hurricane season.
You just never know. You just never know.
It could be anything.
We're not going to rain this year like this past year. But September 19th, that's all I know. I don't know speakers. I don't know theme. But it will be at
the date.
Yeah, save the date. Actually, we have an early bird ticket on sale on our website for that too. So tickets on sale on our website for September 19th. So it's going to be a great day. It will be actually our 5th annual conference. And God. I feel the pressure, but I also really want to make it be special, extra, just a really great day to celebrate 5 years of doing something really hard and awesome and impactful.
I cannot wait until you announce the theme and I'll have April, May, June, July, August. I'll have a 5-month-old, but I'll be there. Because I had a 5-month-old.
So put it on your calendar.
At the 2022 event, I had a 5-month-old and I was still there. So I will be there. We won't be moving. We are rooted in Mount Juliet now. And I cannot wait. Yes. I am so excited. So 2025 is going to be a big year.
Yeah. So good. Well, thanks for coming on. This is so fun.
So fun.
We're lucky we wrapped that up in the time that we did.
We could talk. I don't have a watch on, but like you and me could really, is that clock right? Is that really 3?
No, it's an hour off.
No, it's off. Okay. We need to fix that. Sorry. We'll fix that.
Well, thanks for coming on. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
You're so awesome.
Thanks, Lucy. I appreciate you, adore you, and I'm so proud of you and everything you're doing. I'm your biggest fan.
I got you.